they're able to get from their draft to set up those big angles to make sure that the Pop Blossoms and Kennen can really make for an explosive opening fight. If those fights aren't explosive,
you know, during the playoffs, a lot of lane dominance here for GALA and Vampire. It allows here for JunJia to go for an invade onto the blue buff of Xun. Both flashes being utilized by him and Vampire, and Xun just has no place to go. That is first blood.
Not even just crazy in Blabber's game, just everyone.
Yeah. The Blabbers Crabbers really making their way across the globe. Thankfully, not going to matter too much for
on JDG's side will mean that Bin and Knight can't punish the side lane wins as hard. That being said, Xun looking to punish up top.
Dominus already popped, but it might be just a little bit too few health ticks. Xun goes in with that Crescent Guard. 2 ultimates for the strength of this champion specifically. He's had a lot of good experiences on it. Now have a bit of a fight in the mid lane. JunJia going to EQ up. Xun going to follow. We have the Dragon about to spawn, and that's why these teams looking a little bit more eager to go for a fight. On flashes forward, lanes that 2-man Pop Blossom, and HongQ is taken down. JunJia will respond with a kill onto On, then uses the Cataclysm and his flash to escape, but in comes the Realm Warp, and BLG are now sending 3 back onto the J4. Xun lands the final blow, and overall, it is a 2 for
that look on HongQ. It got both summoner spells out of him, but the fact that didn't connect, that kind of gave away where BLG was at. And we are still in the world where GALA and Vampire, before that last play went down, were already winning this lane. And they actually got a lot of gold from Viper and On walking and see. 2 plates were secured by Viper, or GALA, I should say. A third looking to be secured here by GALA. As JDG collapsing on the spot lane, HongQ's here.
So is Knight. So it will be a very even fight in terms of numbers if JDG decide to engage, and with that being under the tower, not a good territory. Dominus pop in, already has his Conqueror though. Has the ulti at his disposal, but Xiaoxu all of a sudden has a lot of HP. There's a Slicing Maelstrom. Bin suddenly does not win the duel. Meanwhile, in the top side, JunJia finds On in a Cataclysm, and it'll even up the kill score at 3 for JDG. And they could be looking for more with Knight and Xun running to underneath their tier 1 turret on the top side. It's going to be JDG in the 3. Yeah,
or maybe it could help them.
Easier words for me here.
Could be.
Get the Dragon started up here. By Bilibili. HongQ throws at the Weaver's Wall. It actually separates On and Xun from the rest of the team, so giving a little bit of time for JDG to strike. In goes JunJia, and he steals the Dragon away. That's soul point in for JDG. Flashes on out and will survive. But the Pop Blossom for On is able to find 2, and GALA is shut down. Xiaoxu is next. And so it'll be 2 kills for BLG, but JD Gaming get themselves their 3rd Drake.
Yeah, it's a Hextech soul point, so very valuable for JDG. That said, BLG getting much needed gold in their pockets. Do want to replay that one, because some of the pokes that connected early on I thought was pretty good for JDG. The Weaver's Wall into that True Shot barrage from GALA actually gave them a health bar advantage, but the flash from On did create a good engage for BLG to follow up on, and GALA, a little bit too far forward in that fight, was found.
Ooh, HongQ. A greedy reset might be punished here. Knight gonna be able to flash forward and land that overload. And now that's 3 straight kills here for Bilibili, and the gold lead ballooning to 3K.
I hope not.
I hope not either. I mean, this guy, such a great team fighter as well, if he can get there. Not his brightest moment necessarily. On pops the Pop Blossom preemptively, and now HongQ says, all right, man, I'll go in knowing you don't have that ability. It's going to be an easy kill here for JDG's mid laner. On has been having such a good game until he made a... On's played some Heimerdinger in his past. Maybe we see that here in this series as well. If this really goes off the rails, I feel like we have to get to like Game 7 of Fearless for that to happen in the current meta state. HongQ in some trouble, gets stunned up by the Pop Blossom, and yeah, this Talia is just dead. Knight's going to be able to land the final blow, and JDG tried to defend him, but it's going to be disaster. Bin goes in with a Slicing Maelstrom, and 2 more die for free. A teleport from Xiaoxu is all too late, as BLG in a 5v2 are going to have an easy time securing the Baron after what an incredibly foolish play by JDG.
Yeah, I kind of need to go back and see exactly how that was found by BLG. HongQ being found in the river, I can understand. They're trying to shift power into bot, but GALA being found like that as well. Bin had such a crazy...
comes the Realm Warp, and On able to barely dodge away from that ability. In goes JunJia, but it's a little bit too late, and the Weaver's Wall is going to cut him off. JunJia now has to flash away, and that's going to be free Dragon and maybe even more here for BLG. That is the first kill given over to Bin. He flashes back into the pit for safety. One more seismic shove will mean a shutdown gets picked up onto Xun, but BLG are happy to deny the soul.
You got the Soul, also kind of win the fight. I think that mid outer is going to go down in favor of JDG. That said, Bin just used the Baron empowered recall.
On. Doesn't use the flash, and now could be in some trouble. HongQ is still able to drop. You thought that maybe On was going to go for a bigger ulti than that, but he gets the prize nonetheless.
Yeah, actually kind of surprised about that one. I don't think they have the numbers to warrant the flash Pop Blossom, but again, finding HongQ. HongQ's been found on more than one occasion now in this mid game. That's his 4th death. It feels like he's been picked out 3 times. A little bit surprised. They've really taken over the Baron side.
They're going Baron, yeah.
I mean, if you're JDG, do you just trade this? Just trade.
Yeah.
Again, for BLG, I feel like this is almost an unnecessary risk from them.
I mean, there's no way they get to this in time. It's just going to burn down 5 members of JDG
mid.
here for the Hextech Dragon. Weaver's Wall going to cut off Shun's advancements as well. So the soul is secured, but BLG want to try to fight in the meantime. They go for the Wind Becomes Lightning onto Xiaoxu, slowed down by the bolas of Viper as well. Xiaoxu going to be able to pop the Dominus, but is going to get sniped down by the Transcendent Laser. And Viper gets on the board first for Bilibili. It's a 45 on the map with Baron buff in their hands. And they're going to try to use this to push the gold lead as much as possible for the cost of the soul.
Yeah. How much can BLG get in the next couple of minutes with the Baron on their backs? And is it going to be worth Hextech Soul? My default blanket statement is no. I do not like the trade that BLG just made. I think Hextech Soul harder against Hextech Soul. And I just, again, like, we're sitting up here like the one mistake you can't make right now is BLG is giving away this Soul. It gives JDG the exact path back into the game that they want, that they're hoping for. And so far, I think the two
Hold on, Shun.
Oh, yeah, hold on.
He's very low. Cataclysm is going to come out. Shun already used his flash, and he's going to go down. So another over-aggressive play for BLG in the enemy
Around
jungle.
that was like, okay, guys, it's 20 seconds gap. We can definitely do both, right? They weren't even close.
Not even close. Even if they started up on spawn at the perfect timing. JDG
took away Bin Slicing Maelstrom, which is still not off cooldown, and On's flashless.
And now the Elder Dragon has been started up. Shun is already very low, and Bin has that ultimate about to come on to cooldown. He uses the Hex Gate to get over, and this would be a big fight to use that Slicing Maelstrom. When will it arrive? Crescent Guard comes down. The Elder is flipped and secured by JDG. Already the Elder has procced, and the Guardian Angel is about to be expired onto Shun. He will go down, and JD Gaming win another flip, and they will claim the Elder for themselves.
JunJia takes it. Shun not able to secure the Elder versus his own team. And for BLG, we came into this series, Grape, saying that we felt like this was the first test they were going to face in the LPL playoffs, going up against JDG, a team that has a lot more might than what BLG has faced so far in their lower bracket run. And this first test, they've not passed at all. They failed it because they got the basic rules of JDG, took the time. They took 2 minutes straight to make sure that mid and bot wave were in their favor, that the control wards were in the right place, where they were to make sure that the Rat and the Nico couldn't find themselves. We find the angle or get themselves behind JDG, get the setup that BLG needs to come back and win this game. As JDG, it wasn't the prettiest game, but they stuck to the basic rules of the league, and that says if you get Hextech Soul, your team's going to have a pretty big advantage throughout the game.
BLG have a 5,000 gold lead, but that's feeling like Monopoly money at this point. JD Gaming with the double buff power of the Elder and the Baron for the next minute and change. And you can see the pressure that they're able to give on to Bilibili. Now they're in the enemy base, and Bin has a flank angle underneath this mid lane inhibitor turret that has already gone down. The Nexus Tower is under fire. The first one is going to fall first. Second inhibitor down. Bin has to go now or the game will just end. And he is with the Slicing Maelstrom. They'll be able to nearly take down HongQ, but he flashes away and will not fall. JDG were down gold, but they were not down in spirit. They get a triple kill for GALA and claim game one of this best of 5.
You're dealing with Aurora and Rumble both have ways to play out of the side lane between worlds, and also just equalizing waves where you at least kill the wave and then have to play your way out. But and that first dragon not going to be taken too early here by either team.
You see Shin thinking about, but it looks like he's thinking more about a play onto HongQ in the mid lane. This Galio has no flash. He is way too far forward in the mid lane. And they're going to give first blood over to Knight. BLG on the board first.
Oh, this trio. As JunJia going to set his sights on the Bin here. Has gotten around the wards so far. Bin does have flash.
He's in really good position heat-wise as well. Would be able to almost take down Xiaoxu single-handedly if things go well. There goes both ultimates, Public Execution and the Paranoia. Fear still lands onto Bin despite the flash. The Equalizer's going to come out. Bin not going to be in a great position here. He's at 300 HP,
well.
pops the Scrap Shield, and will be able to survive.
Cyclone into the Equalizer and set things up.
Well, return to the top lane. Another Public Execution lands here onto Bin. As you mentioned, there's no flash, so a little bit less of a chance for the Rumble this time around. Will be a delayed answer, if any, for Jindong Gaming, and it looks like they instead will opt to give this one away. So a 2-dragon lead opened up for Bilibili Gaming. We'll see what soul it is, because that could have significant ramifications. This turret, Xiaoxu trying to allow for this tower to go down. Gonna get some help from JunJia again. Bin flashes this time, but won't be able to get away from that Public Execution. JunJia on the board again. That's first tower over to JD Gaming. A teleport is gonna come in from Knight to cut JunJia off. Will be a casualty of the enemy jungler, and we'll see what that means in terms of ramifications for Herald.
Ooh. Knight able to pick that one up for himself.
That's
a little bit more
That's
than
my new
points
favorite
these
part of
days.
this game.
It has been. That said, I think JDG making the right call again to make sure that HongQ picks up his tower for himself. So, honestly, a lot of gold advantage secured by JDG in that skirmish.
Oh, no flash. That's a sign for Xiaoxu to now go in. Knight was invisible for a little bit, but will have to eventually show himself and go down to Xiaoxu, as the top side has been all JDG here in Game 2.
And again, the identity for JDG, like I see at Nocturne, Mbessa, Galio. We talked about attacking the side laners.
In the LPL, if he's able to execute now in these team fights, that with the lead that he was given, something that Bin is not able to do very well in game number 1.
HongQ was spotted on the way in. I'm not sure if he knows or not. It looks like he does. But BLG kind of stuck here. About
to break out in the Herald goes on. They immediately knock up Vampire and they take him down. In goes the Paranoia here, but it's JunJia on a one-way trip and he wins yet another Smite fight. He is non-stop on fire with these 50-50s.
Dragon stacking stopped. It's going to be 2 kills at least going over to BLG. They're gripping towards the Baron. They had Shelly mid. I thought they would have sieged this turret to take some points, but no. 5v3, every tool up for BLG outside the Cyclone. Baron is being hit.
Killer Instinct still available. Is the Public Execution as well. HongQ almost has that Hero's Entrance up, but this Baron is melting to all 5 members of BLG. JDG still want to fight.
Whoa.
In goes Xiaoxu, finds the Public Execution on the Viper, but he's now in a 1v3 in the back of the pit. Hero's Entrance comes out. HongQ's able to knock up 3, but will the damage be enough? Baron secured by Bilibili, but the health bars are ticking, and GALA's in the back line. Killer Instinct finds a double kill, and he's still weaving his way around. Knight able to eventually take him down with the weirding, but JDG saving the play, able to get 3 kills at the price of the Baron.
Backline finds Viper, finds Shun, combos well, nearly got Bin, and sidesteps his way the best he can around Knight, really outside the E, which kind of used all of his tools to juke what he saw already. So I think GALA deserves some flowers for how he played out that fight, down numbers, nearly taking 3 with him. As 2 members get out with the Baron, you can see the siege starts for BLG as that top outer turret will fall for Bin.
So the Baron buff still in the hands of 2 members of Bilibili Gaming, but
is a wee bit lacking in damage. That said, Kaisa can really make up for it, and GALA's not. Oh, hold on.
Oh, in goes Xiaoxu right into the middle of 4, but it's a beautiful delivery system for HongQ, and Viper is taken down. 1-0 in favor of JDG, and the Paranoia has gone in on tonight. He goes between worlds to try to escape the likes of JunJia, and Vampires also died. HongQ ticking low. Has to use the Justice Punch to get away, and Knight is still alive, hunting with those Qs, unable to find anything else. Just a 1-for-1. Dragon has just spawned, and they have full control of vision in the pit, but that's not going to stop JDG from trying to get in here. JunJia's won these Smite fights before. Will it happen yet another time? Control ward here in the bottom side. JDG having to poke and prod their way into the pit. Dragon already at 1,000. In he goes again! This is ridiculous at this point. JunJia's the Smite god, but will they win the fight? Taunt is going to connect onto a lot of members, but Knight's still going to go between worlds. It's a double kill for Viper, looking for a 3rd, and they get the Dragon, but JDG are going to lose this fight handily. 4 kills in the favor of Bilibili.
GALA couldn't play the fight. The tools of BLG are keeping GALA and the rest of JDG out to the best of their abilities. Again, gonna need another look at that one because I was kind of focused on JunJia going in. He's landed all the smites, but they haven't been able to find the winning combos, and they go in on Viper again this time around, but Viper was able to kite to his team and get out.
Yeah.
Pack the back half of the fight or impact Viper. So him being stuck, him being sniped out of the game. I mean, he's hit all the smites. He stole away the Elder. He's stolen away 2 dragons in this one, and
another public execution.
Whoa!
Xiaoxu going to pull the trigger. It is on to Knight, but the paranoia is going to come forward as well. Between World only onto 1, but it takes the enemy jungler down. 1 for nothing, soon to be 2, as Xiaoxu goes down. JDG went too far forward, and BLG this time are there to punish.
Again, I just don't think that GALA can interact with these fights, and everything being sent on the Knight. Yes, the Between Worlds, it's to get Knight out and to only hit the Nocturne, but if your AD carry can't play in a game where we did set up that the damage is a little bit lacking from JDG, pretty much Kai says to make up for the lack of damage in other roles. Viper might be shouting out old teammate of his, and Chovy, as that quirky build. Bit different. I can understand picking up more health against the comp that BLG is playing into, but double whack cleaver, I don't know if that's super efficient. Also GA an option. So far though, has helped Viper live in the last couple skirmishes, and he has been the much more impactful AD in these fights, as we just highlighted GALA not being able to get into the last fight.
JDG playing split map a little bit here. Xiaoxu's going to take this tier 2. Now looking for Knight as well, but Shun has joined at just the right moment. Public execution alongside the paranoia, nearly able to take Knight down. JunJia still following up with the fear, gets a big shutdown, but will cost him his life. It's a 2 for 1 in favor of BLG, but maybe more. HongQ uses the Justice Punch directly over the equalizer and then says, nah, screw this, I'm an ulti out instead. Gets onto Vampire and will be allowed, unless he somehow screws up this smite, but I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, no JunJia to smite this one away as he went down. Really good predict from Xiaoxu to find Knight.
1 HP. 1 HP.
Look at me Englishing.
Yeah, that's the buffalo, right? Where the words mean different things when you say them back to back. Exactly what's happening here. It's been a multifaceted win so far for BLG. Shun able to control these fights, this time getting to Soul Point as well. Baron buff no longer available for them, but they still have a big wave on the top side. A big rocket lands onto GALA, and he's forced to pop that barrier and already be at a significantly reduced HP pool. JunJia and Shun fighting it out right now. Both their Conquerors already been procced, but the poke damage from the side of JDG is starting to hold true. In goes the depth charge. Will they set up a public execution? They find the likes of Viper, but he valks away from the hero's entrance and is still alive. Vampire's down, and Knight just runs the other side of the fight. It's a double kill already for the Aurora, and one last ditch effort from JDG was not enough. It's a clean ace, a triple kill for the superstar mid laner of Bilibili, as they'll even up the series at 1-1.
I mean, every fight, it just felt like GALA either couldn't get in, or when he did get in, he was walking into a meat grinder. And this is AD Kaisa. I think that it's a game where he tried to auto a lot, wasn't able to auto enough, and BLG able to keep GALA out. Opts for Flash or Ghost this game. I think it's going to be a Flash, just given that we're in Pro. But, yeah, I don't know if... I don't be a pretty nice start here, as JunJia doesn't look like he can fight Shun. He
has that Conqueror
proc,
but again, JunJia
Vampire's here,
gonna get stronger as the health is lower. Vampire's here, pops the heal,
flash.
pops the shield. JunJia nearly goes down, but it will be Shun to pick up first blood for Bilibili Gaming. They're gonna get a second onto Vampire as well. Knight gets the final kill credit, and BLG are off and running.
The early priority for them. Not very surprised to see this go to the side of BLG, given what's drafted in the script of the game. Kind of expect to see a 530 Drake in their hands, so we'll execute by BLG to make sure this goes in their favor.
Looks like this Mel pick was pretty telegraphed in terms of Knight knew that this was going to happen at some point, and he had to pick
lane. I think Mel kind of uniquely interacts with this game, just denying the gold cards and maybe some of the mid-jungle ganks that you look for when you have a TF on your team to attack his own lane with the free gank setup he gets. That's denied, but also kind of a low-range comp.
Ooh,
and oh, that's a root.
That's going to be it on to HongQ. No flash still on that Twisted Fate to go up with Viper potentially on a reset rather soon.
I mean, that's just the grubs going down. If Eclipse the Fury shows, I don't think that JunJia can fight this at all. It isn't close enough on a base to try and get involved here. So, if anything, expecting to see him look for wraps.
Ultimate used here by Bin perfectly alongside Shun, who goes untargetable to make sure it doesn't connect. Another nice interaction in response to Twisted Fate. So JunJia and JDG now going to start this dragon up. Ron has eyes on it. Destiny has been popped just to make sure that JDG know exactly where the opposition is. But Shun now going to jump over the wall, potentially creating another 50-50. Encore going to be matched, but GALA cleanses it. Going to be the dragon secured by a JDG. In goes the rest of the fight, and JunJia starting to pop off with the wild growth. Gets one before eventually dropping. Bullet time coming out from Viper at 1 HP. Will be enough to take GALA down. And Knight shuts down HongQ on the backside as well. JunJia and JDG get themselves the dragon, but it costs them 3 of their players.
When he Ragnaroks, he's going to be strong in that window. Speaking of which, Knight going to be the focus here.
Window could be opened here, but Knight just clears the entire of the way. They're going to go for it anyway because I guess they have to. Reflect going to be used perfectly, and in goes the Golden Eclipse to make it a 1-for-1. HongQ stood for a little bit too long underneath the turret. Nearly would have gone down with one more turret shot, but Knight's able to make it a 1-for-1 for now, but Shun jumps forward to make it an advantageous fight for BLG.
Yeah, I mean, Mel can delete the wave. JDG decide to go for the play anyway, and yeah, they get the shutdown, but at what cost? Now GALA.
GALA now starting to be pretty strong now with the Rangers' focus. The Encore forced to come out to delay any further auto attacks from raining in on to... Again,
look to see who Vampire is empowering. I think giving Whimsy to HongQ makes a lot of sense for me. Just speeding up that gold card coming in.
Chunked. Been tickled at the most by the entirety of the damage of HongQ. In goes JunJia with the Ragnarok, doing a ton of damage, but will not drop just yet. Able to get away with the blast cone is on, and Shun takes him down. Xiaoxu with the Counter-Strike, able to escape, but 2 more go the way of BLG.
I just feel like JDG are signing up for losing fights, and I'm a bit curious they're going for it now, because I kind of like the scaling of JDG in this game. Like, you have a Lulu. I can
JDG here to try to defend, but 4 is bigger than 3, and that's how many BLG send to take this one.
I mean, coming into the day, we really felt like, you know, BLG, they were the favorites coming in, but JDG had a hard road. Felt like that could have maybe been the buff as on.
Another great McHale's, but this time it's not going to matter. JunJia finally getting onto the board. Wild growth on top of him as he's found Knight in melee range. That's going to be a shutdown. And JunJia with a double kill. Able to get JDG back in the winner's circle for now. Bin goes forward with that unstoppable onslaught, but unable to find a knockup. JunJia no longer has the Ragnarok, but still has some damage. And GALA's been untouched with the Ranger's focus. Bullet time is flashed away from as everybody from JDG will go in, take Bin down. He flashes away at 100 HP. The red buff not going to do it either, but a big win for JDG to get them back into the game.
And man, just as I was setting up BLG for taking over JDG, the one thing they got in that last fight, yes, we were questioning why they took it. It was a loss. We were crediting how well On played his way out of that one, but On used his tools around the Rift Herald. It was a beautiful McHale's from him this time around, but that was sometimes if you're invisible, it does mean that you're doing your job, getting those shields, getting those heals down. And we have to look out to see if either Enchantress is picked. There are big linchpins for each team's composition. As Herald drop, BLG will take the mid-inner turret for themselves.
We're talking about great 80 carries, great mid laners, target selection, a big focus that you get by stealing one of those dragons away earlier. Get the opportunity to maybe opt only for a fight you really want. But looks like BLG want to fight instead of going for the Drake, but in goes JunJia once again. He's empowered. He shuts down Viper, but he will go down in a trade. Teleport has come in, and Xiaoxu now arriving to the fight. Shun is exhausted, but it will be Knight going golden, and Xiaoxu jumps on top of him, taking the Mel down. Double Counter-Strike, and Xiaoxu carries JDG to a team fight win in the bottom lane. Only Bin remains, but he won't for much longer. A double kill in for GALA, and it's a clean ace for JD.
JunJia's Olaf is breaking up. The polymorph actually goes down on the Shun, and he nearly takes down all of them. Now I'm watching Knight. He had a really good last fight. He has split, has gotten himself a lot of resources. And again, this Jax luxury item starting to come in. Zanya's, that takes away even more ways for BLG to try and play and wombo their way into JDG.
So now the Dragon going to be the focus, but that might not even happen until Shun goes down. He forced the use of the Unbreakable, and now here goes JunJia again with the Ragnarok. HongQ going very far forward, but it's going to be able to take down Knight. Xiaoxu not able to land a stun with the counter-strike. 5 seconds until this crucial Dragon Soul spawns.
Yeah, only saving grace for me is that there's no Ragnarok available. So if you can find Olaf, it's a maybe, but that's it for BLG, and it's going to be hard. They're down numbers.
Shun's had a lot of objectives stolen from him. He's going to have to do it again, but no, that just gets bursted down too quickly. Chemtech Soul for JD Gaming. We didn't even think it had enough time for that to be bursted all the way through. HongQ hunting with the gold card. Finds on, but nothing more. As Shun is looking to dash forward, and Knight has respawned and teleported back to the mid lane. In goes Xiaoxu. Counter-strike onto Viper. Not enough to take him down just yet, though, but GALA's looking unlocked. JunJia already picking up one. A second onto Shun. And JD Gaming reigning supreme once again. ECA onto Knight. He flashes away, not going to go down, but it should be enough for JD to go to the Baron Nashor.
I think Bin just took the train out of the country. He tried to TP back in, but all of his friends were gone while he was missing. And JDG, this has been kind of a wild, chaotic game, Grapes, but it feels like off of... And they missed out of the window where they could have fought where JunJia's down Ragnarok. In what was another very good early game for BLG, it gets turned on by JDG. They're looking to close out this game. I think they're going to do so pretty damn easily with a Chemsoul Olaf, Grapes. And this is going to be a 2-1 JDG lead.
The more Baron buff still available for the next 105.
Xiaoxu has a Haunting Guise on his Jax. It's a nice late tech. Maybe, yeah, maybe Riftmaker into Dusk of Dawn to wrap things up here. Maybe just the damage amp into the Scion. Pretty good. Health stacker.
Oh, knock up on the GALA. JunJia's about half HP. This could be an opportunity for BLG to go in, but the Ragnarok's already been popped, and JunJia will remain invulnerable for now. Charm going to land on a 2. Xiaoxu has been targeted. GALA flashing away for the bullet time. The Jax is very low. Taken down by the Golden Eclipse, and Knight has found his moment. Dash forward from Shun. Takes GALA down, and now BLG are the ones on the comeback train. JunJia is able to escape for now, but BLG now have a numbers advantage for the next 45 seconds.
Good find by BLG. I think the key to that fight was that JunJia, off the Ragnarok, had to retreat. Couldn't step forward, didn't have the flash. JDG didn't take that fight on their terms. BLG were able to stall out, like they forced out Ragnarok, then they stalled out the Ragnarok. They waited for it to expire.
Seeing the items.
Yes. Thank you for making the joke they want to make, Grapes. HongQ goes in.
On. Yeah, cleanses away from the arrow again, but not going to be able to match the might of JunJia. Already 1 kill for nothing. The Ragnarok still unlocked. And it takes down at least 1 player here. Bin, he goes forward with the ultimate. That was a ill-mattered attempt by Bin on the Scion. He will go down 2 kills for free into the hands of JD Gaming. They're going to look for more. Xiaoxu jumps forward. Another multi-man counter-strike, and Knight is going golden, but waiting for his eventual demise. Viper on the run, but he's not going to be able to run much farther from Xiaoxu, who has carried this game on the Jax. JDG from the brink will come all the way back and will take a 2-1 series lead over Bilibili.
And Grapes, of all the setup, have a single button where they can press, like, a stun onto Kha'Zix LeBlanc and then connect with all their CC from there. I'm a bit worried for JDG.
Looking for a potential execute. Gonna have to get under this tier 3, trying to buy as many seconds as possible, and it should be... No, it's first blood. Picked up here before Xiaoxu arrives. Needlework not going to connect. Almost the 3rd one. Not enough to take Shun down. He's in a very bad spot. Should most likely go down. HongQ taking tower aggro though, and Bin's hit Mega, and Shun will not go. He's still alive. Finally, Xiaoxu goes forward with the snip, but he makes it a 1-for-1, and it should be more after that, with Knight finally being able to arrive to the play. It's 3-1 now on the scoreboard for Bilibili Gaming, and they can make it a little bit more. Bin jumping over the wall, taking Xiaoxu. Can't say that means much though, given the way the rest of this series has gone. Although we do like the way the composition functions a little bit more than we did in Game 3.
Yeah, I don't think that we're in a position where we get disastrously outscaled here as BLG, as HongQ. He's going to spot Shun.
Oh, Shun. He's going to flash in. Did not realize that was enough damage.
But the bot lane's kind of going in favor of JDG anyway. So I think Shun picking up what he is off this play. Big win for BLG.
Now maybe Xiaoxu going to be the target as Bin is now Mega. Waiting for this wave to crash in. Shun opting out of the dive. Instead, allowing Bin to do most of the heavy lifting himself. JunJia, JDG have done a good job responding to any of the pressure that their opposition has brought towards them. As I say that though, Bin goes forward, lands the Mega Gnar to send Xiaoxu back, and On is immediately there with the Solar Flare. And Shun from downtown will snipe him down. So count even at 1. BLG looking good here in Game 4. They're trying to force that decider, keep themselves in the running for that first spot from the LPL at first stand happening in Brazil. Just a sentiment at the very least, as looks like Bin now is going to get targeted by a gank from JunJia, but does a lot of damage back onto Xiaoxu and has the decent movement speed from the Hyperprocs. Flashes away from that final Q, and in comes Shun to turn the tides. That's 1 on to Xiaoxu, a second onto JunJia, sure to follow. Knight's the one to secure it, and BLG are running the table in Game 4. HongQ jumps over with the Blast Cone, looking to try to find at least the wave to make sure this tower doesn't go down.
Yeah, they want the brick. Vampire will get a bit of a chunk down here on the bin, but that big shield will keep him healthy. And that attempt from JDG wasn't as close as I was hoping as it would be, Grapes. I want to give Bin a little bit of credit. Had some really good clicks to get out of the sweet spots of Aatrox. Kind of gamed JunJia on the Q entering the fight with some of the clicks that he had. But that I would constitute that as a rather poor effort from JDG, which is too bad because they've had a lot of good efforts throughout this series. That one just, that wasn't one of them. And this game seems to be spiraling a little bit.
They were very eager to try to force something on the Bin. You know, the typical signs, hey, he's mini Gnar, let's go for something. But he's still pretty strong as mini Gnar, and this is Bin's Gnar that we're talking about as well. Not to mention Shun coming in, getting a kill, number 4 on the game. Nice hook, though, is going to connect onto Knight. Vampire gets a big shutdown over to HongQ. That's much needed.
Thresh should be feared in the league. Thresh is a champ where you can really demonstrate player skill. Vampire doing a good job of that. I'm talking through that one. Whew. He was dead.
As GALA tasted Shun's fear right there. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
More like
I see him at first stand.
I mean, I was kind of worried when I saw the Kazakhs locked in that we might see a Gwen jungle. I mean, to be fair to JDG, I don't think they can really contest this dragon. And this is not a dragon that I'd sign up to die on a hill for. So maybe looking at Bin was the wise choice. That said, Bin going to play his way out of it. A-okay. So Bin bases, navigates the gank. A little bit more gold's going over the Gwen. But it is the Evolved Claws ripping through that dragon for BLG and Shun as they pick up their second dragon of the game. Vampire. Ooh, guess wrong.
Yeah, Knight's going to go forward as well with the Mimic. Take him down again.
Yep.
Knights LeBlanc reigning supreme here in this Game 4 as BLG really put in their pedal to the metal.
I mean, JunJia doesn't have access to his camps anymore as... Oh, that's a bold play.
Blast Cone, no ulti this time, and that means that JunJia's going to go down. So a great fight, I guess. HongQ's looking for some sort of trade, but not going to happen. BLG, I think we can definitively say this, very ahead in this one.
I'd say a 9k gold lead is better than a 7k gold lead, and we're not stopping there. As Geraldo Rift Hera going to save her charge for the inhibitor turret. See if anyone from BLG wants
the test that Knight's going to have to face. A challenger has approached. So far, that challenger has gotten the best of him, but not in the most important of games, that being here in the postseason. So Knight looking to take BLG all the way to 5 here, has been alongside a downtown snipe from Viper, is able to get a kill on a Vampire, and now On is looking for more on to JunJia. Satchel sends JunJia back, and that will be 2-0 once again.
You know, I feel like JDG deserves a wee bit of grief for this draft, Grapes. I was not a fan of the Aatrox coming in later on. Hasn't looked great. I think it's been a bit of... JunJia fell behind early. A couple oopsies. That didn't help. But also, I was really looking for hard CC. Been a lack of that.
Battle here between our two mid laners. One, of course, more of a legacy here in the LPL.
JunJia was getting the best of Shun and probably the MVP of the series throughout the first 3 games. I don't want to say I expected the matchup to go like this, to be this Shun favored, but I was expecting the jungle matchup to be a little bit BLG favored. in this series. So yeah, it's been a bit of a roughie this game for JunJia.
Yeah, guess what? No, you can't outsmite your opponent if you're never set up to even get into position to steal away.
You know, that
objective
might have been the
Kha'Zix do
Kha'Zix.
that at all.
That was frankly is refreshing from my perspective, because this team has frustrated me at times, playing a little bit too fast, getting ahead of their britches, ahead of their skates, and tripping up over themselves at points.
So
and I don't want to see that. I would like a game 5 tonight, Grapes. This series has been fun.
Oh, nice!
By GALA.
Goes in, and GALA is just deleted. There's a double kill again for Shun, who's having his way with his old team, going for Vampire next, a triple kill for the Bug. Baron might not even be needed, as it's a 5v2 now for BLG. They're going to run right down the mid lane. They're going to break open this inhibitor, and they could even look for more.
Yeah, let's get us out of here. Let's get into this game 5, Grapes. It's been a fun series so far tonight. BLG not going to throw this lead. Really good game from Shun, punishing JunJia, playing too fast, too early, as BLG take a very dominant game 4 victory.
There is no wave right now. They're going to have to wait for this next one to be escorted in. 10 seconds on JunJia, but it should not matter. BLG, with the most dominant win that we've seen all day against JD Gaming, are going to send us to game number 5. Because between these two teams, there was no other way for it to go down. Respawns have come through, but the Nexus is gone.
The R from Kalista, you can chain Onivia's Q, and this is a kill lane into Renata. Renata doesn't function well.
Cross map to try to deny as much of the invade as possible onto JunJia. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane is Viper picking up first blood with On, and HongQ gets another solo kill.
Hell yeah.
So, hey, maybe he'll be useful late game. Maybe he'll be another mid laner. Maybe 2 mid laners are better than a mid laner and a support. Have you ever done that math?
No. we're learning with everyone else.
We're all learning.
Mike and Eggs.
Oh, this is not going to work well, as the egg will be procced here. We'll see if JDG can finish it off, but Knight's able to do a lot of damage back on a Vampire. It'll just be the 1 kill in favor of BLG, and the bird will live.
9 Kalista, and then we take Onivia later in draft, guys. We flex the Onivia, all right?
So far, scoreboard's looking good. That's all I'll say. BLG up 2,000. They're going to get all 3 of these grubs. Viper, again, with that significant CS lead. Now isolated here with GALA in the bottom lane, but in the mid lane, now On's going to be in trouble again. This time, no egg by his side. And so he will meet a grim fate, cracked open and taken down by the lights anyway. And that'll certainly mean this dragon goes over. Shin's going to be able to take it down.
Well set up by On. Toward 2 points of W. You know, you can make sure you close out that gap. Vampire does lose his flash, and yeah, again, I just don't think JDG ever wanted that fight. HongQ just completed
and taking it down with the help of his bottom lane.
JunJia doing his best to get some control over this. Ward snuck in by Vampire. On's gonna pop the sweeper. Meanwhile, trades top. Maiden's been dropped. Death Realm used.
Just gonna delay. And meanwhile, it's gonna be Knight teleporting in to be able to join his top laner upon his emergence from the Death Realm. Xiaoxu didn't even see it coming, and will go down in a 3v1.
HongQ gonna drop his ult, as I think there are more interview media requirements for those guys. Another dragon going over to JDG is concerning for me, though.
Yeah, they're gonna drop it. I mean, Shun is nowhere nearby.
What gold can BLG get off this? Doesn't look like they want
the greatest mid laner the LPL ever has had. And again, so far, it's been HongQ with that success. Even if you take into account both games that JDG have lost and both games JDG have won today, still the highest win rate mid laner.
And gonna impact the map and be damn good at it. Victor's not that champion. You're playing for lane, you're playing to scale. So far, he's done a nice job of getting resources for himself, even if he's gonna have to give away some here. As Herald was dropped topside for BLG as they secure the top outer turret.
We have a 2v1 opened up here. In the bottom side is Bin, has the Death Realm issued onto him, and the rest of JDG's rolling up to make it an unfair fight. Once he re-emerges, getting a bit of a taste of his own medicine is Bin, as it'll be a shutdown picked up for the Vi.
Don't agree with Bin burning the flash there. He was against 4. Is trying to buy as much time as he can for Knight, who with 3 grubs has been able to get 4 plates for himself and a lot of work on that top inner turret. And frankly, with Bin going down then, maybe there's a look at this dragon. Bin does have TP available. No flash, no maiden, though. As JDG going to reset to fix top one. Bin's pushing bot. Mid's a handshake. BLG have yet to start this objective as JunJia getting very aggressive here as they play for this bot side embankment brush.
A risky play, but it looks like JDG do not want to sit and wait for the next
good.
dragon. They want this one right now. A big Glacial Storm is here for On, but he gets crowd controlled and Fate sealed back in. Gonna be a big hostile takeover. It lands onto Bin, but already JunJia has gone down. Viper's picked up his first kill. Knight's in the Death Realm. He dashed away with the Abscon, but the dragon's already gone. The way of Bilibili. They are able to even up the count and now looking for advantage in numbers. Onto Xiaoxu they go with the Grand Starfall, and the Mord is now down. 2 kills in the hands of BLG, and they might have just found their opening.
Again, for JDG, I'm kind of down with them fishing around, using Victor lasers to poke. Maybe you can get something, but committing to the full fighter into the river is a little
Handshake?
risky. On's going to fall.
It's on to On. The Onivia egg is still popping. It's not down just yet. Finally, the Boomerang Blade will take it, but HongQ will die in response. Viper gets on the board once again, and now Knight's hungry for more. Takes Vampire down, and it's 4 kills in the extended fight for BLG.
A lot of gold picked up for BLG as they're pushing that lead towards the 5K mark on top of evening up the Dragons, which we expected. But again, you can kind of see the strength, the composition still showing those items as they're rolling in for JDG. Things are getting better, but they're not stronger yet. And the fight for BLG was good. Bin's Yorick got through the entire fight, was able to operate, and was really the big difference maker on the back. Get that big spike as an 80 carry, and Viper definitely in a sweet spot right now, seeing a 3 items being ahead of the curve.
JDG still looking for a play here. They're going to find Shun out in a 2v1. HongQ going to join as well. This Pantheon is in some severe danger. Bin's on the way, but it's going to be the Arcane Storm to take him down. A big shutdown into the hands of HongQ, but Baron is suddenly getting pinged at. Wouldn't make sense for BLG to take it with their jungler down.
Oh, I thought he flashed. There was kind of a visual bug there at the end. That was a funky one. That's a nice gap, though, for JDG. Like, a lot of times when you're on the back foot in these games, you do have to find those small windows where you can still be aggressive to get stuff. It's not about just sacking in the game, but we're still at the item break point and the part of the game where I just think that the Maiden is so scary on Bin. And Bin very, very good at Yorick and controlling the pet and the Maiden and making sure that he's doing his best job at putting down pressure and then being effective in the team fights. He really, really plays his champion well.
It's a fine line between having a strong presence in a side lane and being able to still join your team for the eventual 5v5 engages. And Bin always has done a good job of navigating that, utilizing his teleport to the best effect. This time, looks like he's with the squad. He wants to make sure his team's able to pick up Chemtech Soul Point. I feel like JDG should have learned their lesson by now. It would be very risky for them to enter at this point, but it looks like instead they will go for the fight. JunJia has his smite available. He's stolen a number of objectives already in this series. Can he find it again? No. It's immediately bursted down by BLG without much to say about it. Wall cuts off Vampire for a little bit, but JDG are still hunting. They're still looking for a fight. Knight goes for the chain, not going to find it onto GALA, but he's still being singled out. Death Realm onto Shun. On tank very low with that Arcane Storm starting to do a lot, of damage. The egg is out, but now HongQ is trapped into the Bin's burst. There goes Viper. Gets the kill onto GALA, and that might be the fight that breaks the camel's back. Knight is going to be able to run Xiaoxu down, and JDG had their fun, but now it's time to bow down to the Knight that rules this realm.
30 seconds on GALA. I think 4 is enough for BLG as the support Onivia is going to find the Game 5 win, the flex pick. And again, JDG, they kind of lacked engage with his composition. I think they played this one too fast. I think they didn't wait for their windows to come to them and BLG punish.
It's 5 seconds on Vampire, 10 seconds on GALA. That should just be it. Bilibili Gaming, they retooled their roster. Wow. They repaired their mistakes, and now they want revenge internationally. 3